Right now, sitting in your driveway, there is a quiet disaster being manufactured, not by a bad mechanic, not by bad luck, but by two of the most powerful industries in the world working together, automakers and the quick lube business, both feeding you the same number. 5,000 miles. Change your oil every 5,000 miles. You've seen it on the sticker plastered to your windshield. You've heard it from the guy behind the counter. You've followed it loyally for years. And here's the part nobody is telling you. That number might be destroying your engine. Not slowly, not eventually. Right now. With every mile you drive. Because the 5,000-mile rule was never designed to protect your engine. It was designed to protect someone else's bank account. And by the end of this video, you will never look at an oil change sticker the same way again. To understand how we got here, we have to go back, all the way back to an era of carburetors, conventional mineral oil, and engines that were engineered with tolerances you could practically feel with your bare hands. In the 1970s and 80s, the 3,000 to 5,000 mile oil change was not a suggestion. It was a mechanical survival rule. Those carbureted engines were crude fuel delivery systems. When they ran cold, excess gasoline flooded the cylinders, washed down the piston walls, and contaminated the oil directly. Engineers called it fuel blow-by, and it was happening in virtually every engine on every road in America. Combine that with the conventional mineral oils of the era, unstable, unevenly refined, prone to breaking down under heat, and you had a recipe for disaster. By 5,000 miles, that oil was already oxidizing, already turning acidic, already failing your engine quietly. So 5,000 miles was the line. Cross it, and you were gambling with your engine. That was real. That was legitimate. That was true for 1983. But here is what the quick lube industry never told you. The world changed, the engines changed, the oil changed, everything changed, and the 5,000-mile rule, it never did. Sometime in the late 1990s, something extraordinary happened in a laboratory. Chemists cracked the code on fully synthetic oil, not refined from crude oil with its chaotic, uneven molecular structure, engineered from scratch, molecule by molecule. Perfectly uniform carbon chains built to survive conditions that would destroy conventional oil within days. Group 4 and Group 5 synthetic oils can withstand temperatures approaching 400 degrees Fahrenheit without breaking apart. The old problem of oil burning into sludge, almost eliminated. The problem of oxidation destroying lubricity by mile 4,000 pushed to mile 12,000, mile 15,000, in some applications even further, and at the same time, engine engineering underwent its own revolution. Carburetors were replaced by electronic fuel injection systems managed by engine control units capable of performing millions of calculations per second. The air-fuel mixture became precise to a degree that would have seemed like science fiction in 1980. The gap between piston rings and cylinder walls shrank to microns. Fuel dilution of the oil, that original sin that made the 3,000-mile rule necessary, became almost non-existent in a healthy modern engine. Modern synthetic oil in a modern naturally aspirated engine under normal highway driving conditions does not die at 5,000 miles. It is not even close to dying. You are throwing away oil that still has thousands of miles of protection left in it. And someone is getting very rich every time you do. Let me be direct with you about something most automotive content creators will not say out loud. The quick lube industry is not in the business of protecting your engine. It is in the business of frequency. Every 5,000 miles, they need you back through that door. Your car becomes a subscription service. Your engine health becomes their recurring revenue. This is not conspiracy thinking. This is basic business math. A shop that changes your oil every 5,000 miles sees you twice as often as a shop following modern 10,000-mile guidance. Double the visits, double the upsells, double the air filter replacements, wiper blades, transmission flushes. Everything the guy behind the counter pushes on you while your hood is open. They use decades-old fear to keep you compliant. They put that little sticker on your windshield and program your brain the same way a slot machine programs a gambler. Come back. Keep coming back. The machine only works if you keep feeding it. And do not think for 1 second that the automakers are innocent in this. Manufacturers of turbocharged direct injection engines, which is now most new vehicles sold in America, will publish 10,000 or even 15,000 mile oil change intervals in their owner's manuals. Why? Because lower maintenance costs look better on paper when you are trying to sell someone a 3-year lease. What happens to that engine in year 5 or year 7 is not their problem. The warranty is gone. The customer is someone else's headache. The sludge building up in the VVT actuators right now, that is your problem. Alone. Here is the reality that both the quick lube shops and the automakers are praying you never understand. Your oil does not die based on miles. It dies based on what those miles actually do to it. Killer number 1. The turbocharger. If your vehicle has a turbocharged engine, and there is a good chance it does because automakers put turbos in everything now, you are operating a miniature furnace inside your engine bay. That turbo shaft spins at speeds up to 200,000 revolutions per minute. For comparison, your entire engine rarely exceeds 6,000 revolutions per minute. The turbo bearing rides on nothing but a thin film of oil. Temperatures inside that housing can exceed 1,000 degrees Fahrenheit under load. Now here's the part that should alarm you. Every time you shut your engine off immediately after hard driving, that oil circulation stops instantly. But the heat trapped in the turbo does not. The small amount of oil left in the bearing housing gets cooked. Engineers call it coking. The oil literally burns into hardened carbon particles, sharp, abrasive, microscopic. And then those particles travel through your entire lubrication system on the next cold start, quietly grinding away at your bearings, your cam lobes, your seals. You never feel it. You never hear it. Until you do. And by then, the damage is already done. Killer number 2. Short trips. This one will shock most drivers. A vehicle that drives 100 miles at highway speed has cleaner oil than a vehicle that drives 2 miles to the grocery store and back every day. During any trip under 5 miles, your engine rarely reaches full operating temperature. Moisture and unburned fuel slip past the piston rings. They always do. But without the heat to evaporate them, they stay trapped in the oil. They combine with combustion gases to form acids. Slowly, quietly, your oil turns into something closer to a mild corrosive compound than a lubricant. And your odometer reads only 4,200 miles. So, you think you are fine. You are not fine. Killer number 3. Idle time engineering studies from American police and fire department fleets, vehicles that idle constantly, found that 1 hour of idling creates wear and oil degradation equivalent to approximately 30 miles of normal driving. Think about how many hours you spend sitting in traffic, warming up your vehicle in winter, waiting in pickup lines. For some drivers, 5,000 odometer miles represents the real-world stress of 7,000 or 8,000 miles on the oil. The odometer cannot tell you that. Only the condition of the oil itself can. Killer number 4. The VVT trap. This is the most expensive trap in modern automotive engineering, and almost nobody is talking about it. Modern engines use variable valve timing, VVT, to optimize power and fuel economy simultaneously. Toyota calls it VVTi. Ford calls it TIVCT. Honda calls it VTEC. The names are different. The principle is identical, and it is terrifying in its implications. In these systems, engine oil is no longer just a lubricant. It becomes a hydraulic control fluid. Oil pressure is used to physically rotate camshaft phasers, changing valve timing on the fly. Tiny electronic solenoids with microscopic internal passages and ultrafine filter screens direct that oil pressure with split-second precision. Now imagine you stretched your oil change to 12,000 miles because the manufacturer said it was safe. By mile 10,000, that oil has been oxidizing for months. Microscopic sludge particles have formed. In an old engine, that sludge would just settle harmlessly in the oil pan. In a VVT engine, those particles get pushed directly through the solenoid filter screens. A thin layer of buildup, invisible to the naked eye, delays hydraulic pressure. The camshaft that should adjust in fractions of a second now hesitates. The engine stumbles, the timing goes wrong, and you are now looking at a VVT system replacement that will cost you between $1,500 and $3,000, all because you trusted the sticker. There is no single number. That is the answer the entire industry does not want you to understand, because a single number is easier to sell. The truth is more demanding than a sticker on a windshield. If you drive a turbocharged engine, 5,000 miles is your hard ceiling, not a guideline. A ceiling. The thermal stress on the oil in a turbocharged application is categorically different from a naturally aspirated engine. And if you do a lot of short trips or heavy load driving, consider 4,000 miles. Your turbo is not optional equipment anymore. It is the heart of the engine. Protect it accordingly. If you drive a naturally aspirated engine with highway miles, 7,500 to 10,000 miles is defensible, but only if you are using a full synthetic oil that meets the current API SP or ILS ACGF 6A standard at minimum. These specifications exist specifically to fight timing, chain wear, and low-speed pre-ignition, problems that only emerged as engines became more sophisticated. Do not use outdated oil chemistry in a modern engine. If you do mostly short trips or city driving, forget the odometer entirely. Switch to a time-based interval every 4 to 6 months, regardless of the miles shown, because your oil is degrading not from distance, but from chemistry, from moisture, from fuel, from acids. The clock matters more than the odometer. The one diagnostic tool that never lies. Pull your dipstick. Do it once a month. If the oil smells like gasoline, fuel dilution. Change it immediately. If it looks jet black and thick after only 2,000 miles, your engine is already under stress. Change it immediately. If you see milky, foamy residue, coolant contamination, that is not an oil change situation. That is a serious mechanical emergency. The dipstick has been on every car ever built. It does not need a software update. It does not have a subscription fee, and it will never lie to you the way that windshield sticker does. There is no single number. That is the answer the entire industry does not want you to understand, because a single number is easier to sell. The truth is more demanding than a sticker on a windshield. If you drive a turbocharged engine, 5,000 miles is your hard ceiling, not a guideline. A ceiling. The thermal stress on the oil in a turbocharged application is categorically different from a naturally aspirated engine. And if you do a lot of short trips or heavy load driving, consider 4,000 miles. Your turbo is not optional equipment anymore. It is the heart of the engine. Protect it accordingly. If you drive a naturally aspirated engine with highway miles, 7,500 to 10,000 miles is defensible, but only if you are using a full synthetic oil that meets the current API SP or ILS ACGF 6A standard at minimum. These specifications exist specifically to fight timing, chain wear, and low-speed pre-ignition, problems that only emerged as engines became more sophisticated. Do not use outdated oil chemistry in a modern engine. If you do mostly short trips or city driving, forget the odometer entirely. Switch to a time-based interval every 4 to 6 months, regardless of the miles shown, because your oil is degrading not from distance, but from chemistry, from moisture, from fuel, from acids. The clock matters more than the odometer. The one diagnostic tool that never lies. Pull your dipstick. Do it once a month. If the oil smells like gasoline, fuel dilution. Change it immediately. If it looks jet black and thick after only 2,000 miles, your engine is already under stress. Change it immediately. If you see milky, foamy residue, coolant contamination, that is not an oil change situation. That is a serious mechanical emergency. The dipstick has been on every car ever built. It does not need a software update. It does not have a subscription fee, and it will never lie to you the way that windshield sticker does. You now know something that the quick lube industry and the automakers have both spent decades and millions of dollars making sure you never figured out. The 5,000-mile rule was born in an era of carburetor engines and conventional mineral oil. That era is gone. The rule stayed. And the people who benefit most from your blind compliance to that rule are the ones who put it in front of you in the first place. But here's what I need you to understand before you close this video. This is not permission to ignore your engine. This is not a free pass to push oil to 15,000 miles because some manufacturer's marketing department printed it in a brochure. This is a warning in the opposite direction. Modern engines are more powerful, more efficient, and more technologically complex than anything that existed 30 years ago. They are also far less forgiving of neglect. A 1985 engine might survive a stretched oil change. A turbocharged, direct injection, VVT-equipped engine will not. It will collect sludge in passages you cannot see. It will quietly starve its own timing system of clean oil pressure. And one morning, you will turn the key and hear a sound you will never forget. The sound of metal grinding against metal where oil should have been. Know your engine, know your oil, know your driving habits, and stop letting someone else's profit margin determine how long your vehicle survives. You were warned. Drop your vehicle year and model below. I'll tell you exactly what oil interval you should be on. Like, share, subscribe.